USC has the number one ranked 2026 recruiting class right now. They went down to San Diego earlier this spring. They found a former Bruin diamond in the rough.
You are Locked On USC, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Culkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC, part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. Whether you are watching this show on YouTube, you can pick your platform. You can download this podcast. It's always going to be free, and I'm always going to appreciate your support. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers, you can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. If you've been following recruiting on this show or over there at wearesc.com, then you've heard the name Chase Deniz before. He comes from a UCLA Bruin family, but we're not going to hold that against him. Besides, when you're 6'7", 305 pounds, you just smile and say, welcome to the Trojan family. Chase plays offensive tackle for Cathedral Catholic High School down in San Diego. As I mentioned, he's a member of USC's number one ranked 2026 recruiting class. Chase, welcome to the show. Thanks for taking the time to talk to the Trojan family. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I just love being here, and thanks for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. This is one of my favorite parts of being in the media is getting to talk to you young men. One, I'm get to talk to you now because once you actually enroll at USC, you're kind of off limits until you go through the process. So I'm going to take advantage of the opportunity now. So anyways, you announced your commitment to the Trojans back in March, literally a day after you took an unofficial visit. And back then you said, after an amazing visit and careful consideration, I'm honored and blessed to say I'm 100% committed to playing college football at the University of Southern California. I want to thank my family and coaches for being there with me on this journey. But we're going to get into your family dynamic in the second segment. But talk about how this went down so quickly. You show up, unofficial visit, next day, you're wearing Cardinal Gold.
Well, I mean, yeah. So when going into the visit, I was a little nervous, but I was made aware pretty obviously that they were very interested in me, that they were probably going to offer me. And I just remember being so I was kind of expecting something to happen while I was there. And then I remember I got there and, UC just checked every box. I mean, I love the school. I love the coaches. And I had met a lot of them. I've met some of them before,
right?
But I just getting to see everyone there and all that, all the pieces came together. And, that night when we were in the office, I mean, I didn't announce it to the next day, but I mean, Lincoln Riley offered me, and I think 6 seconds later in his office, I committed there right with him. So I was ready to go the moment that he said that. So, and it was just a no-brainer because you can't beat SC.
Can you just real briefly talk about how genuine Coach Riley is? I mean, when you said, I want to be a Trojan, talk about his reaction and how real it felt.
Oh, I mean, it's funny, since then he's actually called me and he said that me doing that is one of his favorite memories he's had in that room. Just really? it was just so and he was just, I could just the look on his face when he was you could tell he was we got him. It's gonna stick with me forever. And I remember I got a little emotional. My dad got a little emotional with me. It was just a huge moment, and I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
Do not ever lose that emotion. I think passion, wearing your emotions on your sleeve, that's real important in life. And I'm the same way. You'll know when I'm happy. You'll know when I'm angry. And I think that's the only way you should go through life. You shouldn't, try and fake anything. So I love that about you. Great. That's awesome to hear. Now, before that first unofficial visit, when did you actually start getting some interest from USC? I know Coach Zach Hansen came down to your school. How shocked were you when he kind of showed up at your high school and said, hey, thinking about coming to USC maybe?
Oh I remember, well, and obviously at that time I was still a UCLA fan. So I'm oh, cool, USC's here. I remember I couldn't believe it because, obviously I never really expected of like going to a school like that big, and just the thought of them actually showing interest in me. And, I thought it'd be something more that happens later on because he was like, I'll be down for spring.
Right.
So I didn't really think it would turn into something as fast as it did. And I just couldn't believe it. I'm like, they're here to see me. Like, he wants to talk to me. Like, I thought it was like the hottest girl in the school coming to talk to you. That's what it felt like.
That's awesome, man. That is great. I'm going to drop that line on him next time I see him. You're the hottest girl in town, coach. Now, you're one of the few guys who can actually walk around and look at Coach Zach Hanson straight in the eyes. You don't have to look up to him. You're one of those few. But the guys that are coming in with you in this class, I mean, they're not exactly tiny. You've got Kenye Pepe, Easton Tafo, who's, I guess, small at 6'5". You got Vlad the Impaler Diakonov, Cannon Smith, the midget, 6'4", and then you got John Fafita, 6'6". Who are you starting to bond with the most right now out of that group? Or I'm not trying to say you're closer with this person, that person, but who do you have that relationship with so far?
The best of the O lineman, I would definitely say I probably have the best relationship probably with Vlad, because
Okay.
I talked to him way back. I met him way back at the Rivals camp back in probably February or January or whatever. I forgot when it was, but he's probably the one I've definitely connected with the most. And I know some of his teammates,
Okay.
so I before, so he's definitely the one I have the best connection with.
That's interesting because you're in San Diego. He's up there in Northern California. So I would have thought it would have been someone in the middle there. And that's kind of interesting. So cool. What are you trying to improve on the most going into your senior season? What has Coach Hanson said? Hey, Zach, Chase, we love everything you got, but work on this. And here's the technique we want you to kind of focus on. Is there anything like that going on with you?
Yeah, there's some things. There's like, there's some like obvious kind of like more general, like, lower pad level. He's just said like lower pad level. And then there's a lot of like smaller things that we were actually working on at the camp. Just like kind of like more like finesse, like timing of like your punches, just like very like deep down, not very like mostly like the most general thing would probably say pad level, just getting lower and getting under guys and finishing plays.
Got it. Now, before we transition to the next segment, you also are on the track and field team. What events do you, I'm assuming shot put, discus, that type of stuff? How does that translate into football? What kind of techniques can you take from there and move them over onto the offensive line?
Well, obviously is the most obvious is just explosion, getting your hips and your body moving in motion and, finishing and getting a item off you can be used just to build general like athleticism and explosiveness that, while not like directly football, it makes your body used to doing certain movements that will help you on the football field.
Also, everybody likes to be so specialized right now and just focus on one sport. I think it's fantastic that you're still kind of spreading yourself thin, so to speak. So, yeah, it's like you said, it's those little things that you're really not even focused on that just kind of transition themselves to the other sports when you're not even thinking about it. So, awesome, fantastic. All right, we got 2 more segments to go. In the next segment, we're going to talk about the family dynamic and how that whole thing's working out.
Well,
hold on 1 sec. Let me get this out of the way for you, Chase. I'm sorry, that's my bad. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night is delivering highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shift, and some can't-miss moments. In fact, we're in the NBA Finals right now. You've got Oklahoma versus Indiana. I don't know who's going to win. I really don't care because I'm a Lakers fan. Nevertheless, if you're into the NBA, and you can check it out, and you might have some ideas of, who's running hot right now. If you're into the whole prop bet thing, FanDuel gives you that opportunity to make some real money. If you've got a read on the, who's heating up, why not back it up? Do a same game parlay. So how would $200 in bonus bets sound if your first $5 bet hits? That's all it takes. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up right now. Head on over to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet. If it wins, guess what? You're going to get rewarded with $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. That was my bad, Chase. Don't worry about it, dude. All right. So your dad played his college ball at Boise State. In fact, he even earned academic All-American playing center for the Broncos. Your mom, one of the best softball players to ever play for that other school in LA. She's now the head coach at San Diego State. In the past, I've heard you say this. I was a diehard UCLA fan. Growing up, I actually despised USC, but I watched them a lot. Actually been to UCLA versus USC 4 times. But, as I grew up watching them, I was watching them for the wrong reasons. Obviously, I'm now part of that, so I want them to win. I'm cheering for them and everything now. So now, by UCLA, I'm in with USC. Before we get into it, how much UCLA swag do you still have left? Is it up in the room and in your car? You still have some of it stashed away? Or did you burn it?
The only UCLA thing I have, I sadly can't get rid of it, is I have like a flag that had like all the teams I liked on it. So like I'm like a 49ers fan. I'm like a Golden State Warriors. So it had like Golden. It's like it had like all of it, and UCLA was on it. So I don't want to take it down because it looks good, but it has. So there is a little bit of UCLA in my room, but there is more USC than UCLA in my room now. So,
that's all right. You're making that transition. We understand. It's a process. Now, obviously, your parents are really happy for you, I think.
Yeah.
But how did that conversation go down when you said, you know what, Mom, Dad, I think I want to be a part of what they're building over there? How'd that go down? Do you remember the conversation?
Yeah. So, obviously my dad has an easier time getting over it because he didn't go there. So he he's still a fan, but but for my mom, I remember when we told her and we were discussing it, and more almost after I actually did it, because she was obviously crying because she was proud. And she's like, this is like the greatest thing ever for my son, but my nightmares have also come true. She's like, of course you had to go to USC of all places. And like all of her friends and like that, like come around the house that went to UCLA with her, why do you have to go to USC? Like, come on. It's more funny, but they're all like, my mom it was a little difficult, but she is over the moon excited.
That's outstanding. Is she still trying to, give you a little nudge, push maybe San Diego State? Is that the compromise?
Nah, she's pretty sold on USC.
I have to ask this question, and I know what answer you're going to give me, but what would happen if UCLA offered tomorrow?
Well, it's funny because they came to my school on when we were still in spring football, and he was showing like obvious interest, and I kind of told him like, hey man, like too little, too late. Like it's hard to say it, but I made my choice and I'm sticking with my choice.
That's awesome. So Chad Bowden, general manager, Lincoln Riley, Zach Hansen. Talk about that culture right now that's going on right now. What is it about, Chad Bowden when he talks to you that he's like, dude, I can't say no to him?
I mean, I like, the culture. Yeah. I mean, everything he says, he makes it obvious that number one, he wants the guys who he thinks are going to help the team win, but he's also getting guys that he knows are going to help the team culturally be better, like as a team. Because like his policy of don't go on official visits. When you make your decision, you're here. We will give you everything, but you need to be loyal to us too. Like I don't see other teams doing that, and I want to be a part of a culture that people want to be a part of. So, in terms of Chad Bowden, he makes everything clear. He laid everything on the table. He's not hiding anything in terms of like what he expects me, like what he sees me being and what he expects me to be, and just everything. It's kind of hard to explain, but I want to play for a guy like him.
Interesting. Very interesting. Now, I know you also you have a relationship with the Giant Skills Count. Chris, Vianney Talamayabo. How much have they helped your game? I've been affiliated. I've watched those guys for a long time now. I love what they do with the big guys like yourself. Talk about your relationship with Chris and Vianney and some of the other coaches over there.
Oh, well, I mean, insurmountable amount of I think he took it in a lot of ways. He took it to the next level because, I started working with him back at the beginning of the year, and I was like, I was pretty good, but I think he just brought my game to a level that it really wouldn't have been able to get to at like where I'm at without him. And just he put me in front of, he obviously put me in front of coaches like USC. We going to Georgia and going to all these places to go play some of the best talent in the country. Just, I think the amount I learned from him is really helped me get to where I'm at now.
I know Elijah Vicona is another person from that group. When you guys are standing next to each other, how much sun do you actually block out from the rest of the world?
Quite a bit.
He might be one of the largest humans I've seen. I mean, he's massive.
Big dude. I mean, yeah, and I probably have a better relationship with him almost than any of the guys in my class. Like I talk to him almost every day. Like he tells me a lot about USC, and he's part of the reasons why I even knew about them, because I talked to him about USC before I even had an offer from there. So it's been cool that he's been like with me almost throughout this process.
Yeah, like I said, I think the size that USC has been recruiting on the offensive line, I mean, it's scary big, and there's nothing wrong with that. Speaking of big, I mean, are you looking? Can you not wait just to start playing in those games against, the teams like Michigan, the Ohio States, the Penn States of the world? I'm going to ask you this real quickly, and I know you got to be politically correct about it, but how would you feel if you didn't get a chance to play against Notre Dame as coming to USC? Does that factor into anything with you?
I actually say it would. I'm not like some like Notre Dame hater. It's not necessarily. It's just part of going to USC and being a Trojan is the tradition of being a Trojan and the legacy that comes with it. And part of that legacy, is playing Notre Dame, and that game it's like over. I think it's over like 100 years old, and it's a little sad that a piece of history for both teams might possibly go away.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate the way the college football is transitioning with the playoffs and everything. That I get. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus with that. I'm just trying to get some feedback. I've been asking all the recruits, all the old school Trojans, former players, yada yada yada, just trying to get a sense of where we're at. So I'm glad that you're part of the 90% group and not the 10% group. So that works with me. All right, we got one more segment to go, and this one's just going to be real. It's kind of peeking behind the door. We're going to talk about who Chase is when he's not playing football. Okay, so like I said, we're going to kind of pull the curtain back a little bit, introduce Chase when he's not the football player, just Chase the individual. So, again, when you're not playing football, you're going to USC, great academic institution. Have you thought about what you want to major in yet?
I'm a little torn. I have some ideas, but I've definitely narrowed it down to either communication, business, or political science.
So we're not going to follow in Dad's footsteps to be a lawyer?
Maybe, possibly. If the NFL opportunity is there, I'm throwing everything into that. But if that doesn't happen, then lawyer is probably the career path I'm going to go for.
Start representing some of your teammates, right?
Yeah.
All right. I don't know if you're a movie fan or not, but if you are, what's your favorite movie of all time?
Ooh, favorite movie of all time. Oof. That's a tough one. I like a lot of movies.
If you don't have a specific title, are you like an action guy, anime? What are some of the things you're interested in when you're watching movies?
Probably more action. I mean, if I'm being real, I know I'm a nerd, but I would probably say the Star Wars movies.
Okay.
I love Star Wars more than anything, so I'd probably say that.
Do you like the old Star Wars or the newer stuff that they've been releasing? Kind of the prelogs and stuff, all that.
Definitely the older stuff, the classic. That's just the classics. You gotta love them.
Absolutely. What are some of your hobbies? What do you like to do? I mean, if you weren't playing sports, what do you like to do when you're just hanging out with your friends?
Well, yeah, just hanging out with my friends. I'll be honest. We get a lot of food, so I like. If eating was a hobby, I would definitely say I like eating. But
Okay.
obviously I play video games with my friends. I from time to time when I'm not actually I've been doing it more in this last week because it's been summer, but I like to read.
Okay.
Just turn the phones off. Just turn your brain off and relax your mind. Obviously, like being in the gym, like working out, like being outside, just going on hikes. We have a lake right by my house. It's like a 6 mile walk, and I'll just go walk it, put some music in. Love listening to music. Just kind of I don't know regular things. I don't have like yeah.
No, that I loved it all. Well-rounded. Music, friends, hanging out, eating. Speaking of eating, what's your last meal? Right? You could have it, whatever you want. What's on your plate? And I don't care how big the plate is.
Okay, so I'm getting probably like a 16-ounce, just like a steak, just a bit regular old steak. I need like a loaded baked potato with like butter, everything on it. I need some garlic bread. I need some rolls from Texas Roadhouse. What else do I need? I need like what do you call it? I need like I need some ice cream, probably some chocolate ice cream. I could go on forever with another
Well,
food.
so far, I've heard nothing wrong. And here's the best part: you didn't mention any vegetables other than the potato, so we're on the same page right now.
And I'd probably finish it off with a like double wrapped Chipotle burrito.
Nice, very nice. Well, trust me, when you get to USC, they got little Galen, and they are going to shove food down your throat. So be prepared. I hear horror stories of how many calories the freshmen are asked to eat just to get that size up. And I'm like, whoa,
Oh.
crazy. It's crazy. I spoke with Madden Reardon last week, and we were talking about some of his favorite classes. First of all, dude's into physics. He's taken AP history, and he's so smart in AP history. He's watching game film. What are some of your favorite classes?
My favorite classes, well, it's funny you mentioned is AP history. I'm a history guy. I love everything about it, and so that would probably, and then I'd probably just say like English, just like writing. I like writing, and it has to do with reading. I like reading and writing, and just like that kind of, just like literature kind of stuff. So I probably say like history and literature.
Are you more into fiction or nonfiction?
Fiction.
Okay, very cool. You're look, you're going to have the opportunity one day. What's your dream car? What do you want to? If you could say, you know what, I'm going to the dealership. I'm going to get one of those. What is it?
Oof. Probably not a lot of high schoolers are saying this, but it's a little out there. But 57 Chevy. I'm big into like the classic cars and like that kind of old look, and that I just think that car is so clean, and especially in LA, I think it would just look cool.
Oh, dude, you are into the classics. I love this. This is awesome. All right, this one's important. You can't mess this one up. Hot dog, ketchup or mustard?
Mustard.
Good man. All right. If you could have your own walkout music, you're coming down the tunnel, they're introducing you. What's your groove? What's your music?
Whoa. Like a song or like a genre?
Your dealer's choice. You see the guys coming up to bat in the baseball games. They got their music playing in the background. What do you pick? What do you want people to remember Chase by when they hear the music?
Ooh. I would probably, if I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to imagine it being like really loud.
Okay.
I'd probably say the beginning of Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Last question. Mama's boy or a dad's dude?
Dad's dude.
Okay. All right. And actually, well, I'm going to save this one for afterwards. Anyway, Chase, I thank you so much for doing this. I hope I hope this was easy for you. I hope I didn't put any undue pressure on you. But I cannot wait until you start your senior season so I can watch some more film. Then you're up to USC and you're going to start that Trojan career right away. So thanks again for doing this. Hopefully we'll have you on again, but one more time, thanks again. And I'll be back with another episode tomorrow, everyone. We do this 5 times a week, as you know. So until that next episode, everyone, you know what to do.